Hello listeners, welcome to the On the Spectrum podcast. Today we have NK to talk about his podcast, Came Zane. Welcome to our On the Spectrum podcast today.
Thank you.
Can you present yourself to our listeners so they know who are we talking to?
So my name's NK. I am a father of three. And so I've got a boy, 11-year-old boy, 8-year-old daughter, and a 7-year-old son. Mm-hmm. My 7-year-old son has autism, and his diagnosis has changed the whole dynamic of our family life. So that's what's brought me here today.
That's it. Well, and you're going to tell us about your son and your journey as a family. So before we begin with everything, tell us about your son. What would you say about him and then what he's into now?
So my son, Zane, he turned 7 recently. Mm-hmm. Very, very loving, energetic young man. He was diagnosed with autism just before his 3rd birthday.
Okay.
What is he into? He is into the outdoors. He's very, very energetic, like I said. He loves being outside. He loves rocks and sticks and nature. Mm. So, that's what he's into at the moment.
That's lovely. So we will talk about Came Zane because you did a podcast talking about your journey and then your experience being a father. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. But looking a little bit backwards, if you see your pathway when the diagnosis came, talk us a little bit about that, like how it went to your family, how landed in there, thinking about the siblings as well, because you have another 2 children. So sometimes we forget that those news affect them as well. Yeah. Can you tell us how did it go? Who was there in your corner to support you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, as a family, we didn't have a lot of experience with autism. Well, to answer your question, Zane is our 3rd and final child. So my wife, I would say, she started, when he was born, noticed probably around the age of 1 that there might be something different with Zane. What was interesting is he started walking very early. Okay. Our first 2 children started walking after the age of 1. Zane, 7-8 months, he started walking.
Oh, wow.
So, and he started sort of trying to speak, it seems. He was very observant of his older siblings. So we were like, oh gosh, he's well ahead. Yeah. So, that was our assumption.
Which is normally worse in the other way around, that parents are aware because things happen slower. Like normally what you hear when you speak about journeys is in the other way around. Yeah, sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fine. So, so it was, we had no sort of, fears of his development or anything. He was definitely seemed to be ahead of his developmental markers. But around the age of 1, we noticed that he wasn't picking up speech as quickly as the others were, and there was a certain time he stopped making eye contact. So I would say there was like a regression, because he was, prior to the age of 1, he was making eye contact, he was responding to his name, you ask him to dance, he would dance, etc. Then around 1, you see that it seemed like he started going into his own world, like he was not really responding, he was not making eye contact. It was just like almost like he wasn't there. And my wife noticed it first. I didn't think too much of it. And I think she noticed it because we've had 2 children. We'd had 2 children previously, so she noticed a difference.
You compare it.
Exactly. But I didn't think too much of it, but she was,
on it.
She was on it.
I think that's a mum title.
That was, I was a mum instinct.
It's in our job description.
That's right. So, over the next 12 months, we were, observing him, and you could see, I started to see, listen, there's something different here. So we had a few meetings, NHS, etc. But we actually saw that to get a diagnosis, it takes quite a while. You could be on a waiting list, etc. So we actually had him assessed privately.
Okay.
So when he was, as I say, about 2.5 when we got the diagnosis.
Okay.
2.5.
So from one that you start seeing things
exactly.
till 2.5.
Yeah. So after, observing him, speaking to people, etc., we decided, listen, if he's going to get what he needs, if there is something, we don't want to wait. So we went privately. Obviously, not everyone can do that. We were fortunate enough to be able to do that. So, we got the diagnosis. You asked about the impact. It had a different impact on all of us. I think the most observable impact was on my wife. I think it really hit her. Okay. Although she knew that this was a possibility, I think when it became a reality, it really hit her hard, because she's the kind of person, she has a macro view of things. She could look well into the future. She was like, this is going to impact us. This is going to impact somehow the whole dynamic of our lives. So it impacted her like that. I would say for a long time she was very down about it. How it impacted me, I also realized our life was going to change. But with me, I switched into practicality mode. I think I was quite hands-on with the children already, but I just became a lot more hands-on. What does he need day to day? He wants to be outdoors. He wants to do this. So I was doing the day-to-day stuff. My wife really delved into research. What does he need going forward? What else? What does he need medically? All this kind of stuff. In terms of his siblings, initially, I wouldn't say there was a massive impact initially. At that time, Zane was still sleeping in our bedroom. They were quite young. They still saw him as their brother. They just, hung around with him, played with him.
They don't understand as we do they?
Yes. It's only... And also they have a bond with him that even we don't have. They kind of have an understanding, they understand his cues and his, things that make him tick. But I think it's impacting them more as they grow up. At the moment, they share a bedroom. And sometimes we might get into that, but there's issues sometimes with him sleeping, and that affects them. Sometimes we can't go to places because, like restaurants, he might not like the place. He might not feel comfortable there. If he doesn't, then we can't go there, which impacts his siblings, and they're not always happy about that. Although they are great with him, I could talk for hours about the impact on his siblings and how great they've been.
We interview siblings at the very beginning. There is an episode specifically with siblings, and then we put on the table 2 siblings from different families. One that was late, was in her 20s, late 20s towards 30s, so an adult without a job, studying, which one was her perspective from her sibling being an autistic person, and then how the future looked like for her, and how she projects herself in terms of, at some point I might need to take my parents' place. So she has that projection.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, you had the other one that was a little girl, I think it was 9, 10, possibly, your eldest now.
Yes.
And then they have another level of maturity that probably the 10 years old will have.
Yes.
The level of resilience is different. You could see in that girl how she was really open and honest. She was talking about how she was connecting with the sibling, and then what you're saying, exactly that. And even Dad was saying that how the siblings can identify those signs that annoy the child or can trigger things, or even to calm them down.
Absolutely.
So even they are better players than parents, they play that role. I don't know, they have something special, maybe because they are equal somehow, and then we are adults and we have lost already that child that we have inside us. I don't know the reason, but you could tell in the girl that I know what to do, I know what to speak to, I know how to predict things before happen, or how things can go.
Yeah.
So it was lovely to see her talking here, because at the end of the day you see that child, but at the same time that matureness in the child, and that how combined.
I think siblings, there's an innate understanding, with the siblings, that the parents don't always pick up on, and I definitely see that with my children.
So how are they now? How their dynamics are? How is the school?
For the siblings or for Zane?
For Zane.
How's the dynamic with school? I must say, so we've been very, very fortunate with school thus far.
That's good.
You do hear a lot of horror stories, with schools.
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly. So the school that Zane goes to, it's a mainstream school. It's an infant school. It only goes up to year 2.
Okay.
It's the same school that his older siblings went to.
Okay.
So the teachers, the staff, they know us very well.
Okay.
And I think that has also contributed to how they are with Zane. Okay. So they have very much embraced Zane. They're a mainstream school. They don't necessarily have everything in place that Zane would need, but they've moved mountains to try and
That's really good.
do what's best for him. We actually at one point had a meeting with the school and said, you know what, with Zane's needs, I think he needs to be in a sort of specialist environment. And they said, oh no, you're not. No, we want to keep him. They actually wanted him there, which, at the end of the day, a school can have everything that a child needs physically, but really what you want, or what we wanted, we want to see that the staff love him, ultimately, because then they will do what they need to do, and I think children pick up on that. And you can tell, because when Zane goes to school, he runs into his classroom and doesn't look back, and yeah, so that gives me hope when I leave. I'm not thinking about, is he being taken care of? Do they like him? Do they, they've really, his class know him very well. They've really briefed his class on Zane and his needs. He has a lot of autonomy in the class. They have, the sensory room is very much catered to what his needs, and so school has been a good experience thus far. I did mention it goes up to year 2, so he's in year 1 at the moment. Okay. So we are coming to a point where we have to think about what's next, and so that's another step in the journey.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Before asking that,
sure.
Talking about the journey, and then with that we close our diagnosis, and then all the back steps that we've done. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to do different, thinking now, or maybe I would have done this different, or I would like to have had some help that I didn't, or
sure. Are you talking about during when he was diagnosed?
Yeah, when he was diagnosed, backtracking in those years you were looking for answers. And at the very beginning, even when the diagnosis comes, because sometimes when the diagnosis comes into a family, sometimes there's lots of confusion. You said about your wife, she was really worried about what he needs, what we need to do to move forward. And then it's that combo. You did quite well, because meanwhile you were looking at the day-to-day, which is as well needed. Yes. She was looking the day-to-day is fine, but there needs to be the forward as well. Yes. So how, is there anything that you would change, or you would like, you missed at that time, and you said now backtracking, I wish I could have had.
I wish. Well, do you know what? It's like you said, it's like we did a lot of things ourselves. I guess what I wish it's more of a societal thing, so I wish there was more of a clear roadmap for parents as to what is available. There was a lot of time spent just researching, just find what does he need, how can we get support, and that took up a lot of time, and it had a huge impact. It had impact on my work, it had impact on my wife's work, it had impact on our marriage, it had impact on how we were, the level of attention we'd give to our other 2 children. So I do wish there was a bit of a clearer roadmap. So that's maybe that's not answering your question. That's more what I wish in society. Yeah. Okay. In terms of us, looking back, if I could do something differently, I think there would be more patience and understanding, because I think between myself and my wife, I would say, because like I said, the diagnosis and the reality of it affected us both differently. And I think looking back now, I think there's a lot more understanding on my part on the effect it had on my wife. And I think she might say also with me, she has a lot better understanding of me. So I think there'd been more patience on both of our parts. Because how Zane's autism manifests, it can manifest into, at times there are meltdowns which no one can explain, or we can't explain. And then, when you're tired and you've had a long day at work, patience levels are low. So I think, when I look back now, I think there would be a lot more patience, especially when I see how far Zane has come over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, I think it's a common thing between parents when we talk to parents, even the ones that they come to school, is sometimes they come exhausted because they've been fighting with the system. That's the feeling that you have sometimes.
Yes.
It's like, I need to kind of fight through, is what you said, I don't know, I need to look for answers. So something goes different. I go and look for the answers of that differences. We put a name, which sometimes the name doesn't solve the problem, because sometimes the professionals that are there in that side think that, you put the name, problem sorted, tick, tick, that's it. And it's like, yeah, okay, thank you. But, and what else now? Because now it begins a new chapter. For some families, a new book.
Yes.
And they just give me the book and say, thank you very much, see you soon, or never again. So this is a common feeling, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it's what you said, affects between the marriage. It's like how you understand things. It's not probably how your wife does.
Absolutely.
The stress levels make friction between you two.
Yeah.
You had another two already, and then you can see that affects all the dynamic within the family.
Absolutely.
That's not only you and you guys. Like, that's a common thing. And then, even when they come to school, because they need to go to EACPs, they need to consult this, consult that, go sometimes to panel, fight for bringing them to where we are, like to London. When they come to us, they are exhausted. And then we interviewed parents that they were like, it's like, finally, done, that's it. I think the journeys feel really, really lonely, that's the word. Families feel really lonely, really lost. There's like a lack of information, support sometimes. I don't know if it's your case, but that's a common thing. And then that's one of the reasons that we created the podcast, because we were listening to parents saying over and over again the same thing.
Yes.
And then we wanted to give that visibility in terms of, you are not alone.
Yes.
And you are not the only one living this.
Yes.
So let's get together and we want to help you out. So that's why we created the podcast. Like, hey, hello, we are here. We know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Come along, let's have a chat, or listen to others going through the same journey that you went or are going to now.
Yes.
So you're not the only one. So who is in your corner now? Who is helping you? You guys as a family, like wife.
Yes.
What's her name?
Amanda. Who's not? Well, do you know what? We're blessed. I always say you need to find your tribe. Like you said, we did feel very alone initially. My family, or majority of my family, don't live in the country. Amanda's family are here. I would say it was a journey to get them to understand exactly what this is. Because
that's the thing, like it needs to be extended, the understanding, and the knowledge.
Yeah, and I would say now, certainly Amanda's family, Amanda's parents, they're very much in our corner, but that's not overnight. Because looking after Zane, for example, sometimes you need babysit. It's not straightforward. So a lot of times we just stopped doing things because there was no one to babysit, etc. Now I'd say, yes, we've got family around who can help at times. They understand, they've seen Zane long enough, they know what he likes, what makes him tick, and things like that. So that is helpful. But there was a period there for a few years where it was like even even when people offered to help, it was like we knew they didn't quite understand, you know, what was needed. Sometimes certain things are said and which might trigger my wife, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, so I'd say we do have family now who understand the dynamic, which is really, really helpful. And also Zane has come a long way himself as well, which is also great. So there's hope. It's just a matter of understanding, you know. I think it's less, I think there's a thing in society where we're trying to make the children accommodate or acclimatize, for want of a better word, to society. I think now we have come to a point where the onus is on us to try and understand Zane, you know, and so that's been very helpful. And you can see Zane is now a lot more at ease, you know, around people. Even his confidence has grown. I might be jumping ahead, but
no, like we see these things in the school as well when they come along, and then you work with them, and everybody understands, and then the treatment is different because we understand how you are, we give an answer, we know that you are trying to communicate, and then things tend to settle. So we don't realize that the environment actually has such an impact in terms of when I understand what you mean, when I make an effort to understand what you want, what you need, how you are, and I respect the way you communicate, you come along, things tend to calm down. Quicker than if I am constantly there, like battling with you. Sometimes we don't realize, and I guess that for grandparents and uncles and aunties, there is an element of I need to assume that some expectations that I had of my nephew or my niece are gonna be different, especially for grandparents, I guess. So I think they have like a grievance like a, you know, they have that grief as well as parents do, of like this is not as I expected to be, and then expectations need to change, and there is,
you hit the nail on the head, expectations need to change, and that's actually been incredible in our house. When I look at when Zane is at his grandparents' house today compared to 3 years ago, it's like night and day. You know, I think before they didn't even want, not that they didn't want him to come over, they were just very apprehensive about him being around, and they wouldn't have him there unless I was there or something like that. Now, if you see the relationship with Zane and his grandmother, it's a beautiful thing. But you know, it's been a process of them understanding who he is and what his needs are. And, you know.
So talking about misunderstandings, and especially talking before that you said, we're saying that sometimes there's some myths around autism and then how the children are. We are seeing one side of the spectrum, but when we're talking about autism, it's such a huge spectrum, and then things are presented differently. In the same way that neurotypical people are different. I don't know why we're expecting them to all behave the same when we don't. But we see one of the side, but definitely Zane is in around the spectrum in a completely different side of what we see normally. What myths or misunderstandings you feel with your child that people were expecting one thing and then they were like, oh, actually, I thought, you know, we had an autistic person that was saying, but I thought you're autistic. It's kind of like, you're not fulfilling. He was saying, sorry for not fulfilling your labels and expectations. He was pretty clear, bless him. He was an adult. But sometimes you can see in other people in society that they have some expectations of how an autistic person or child should look like or behave.
Absolutely.
Do you have those situations?
Yeah, I mean, well, specifically with Zane, I think there was, the myths around him were potentially that he wasn't as intelligent as he actually is. I mean, very, very intelligent. Now, I think the myths would come about because we may get into this, but he's pre-verbal, which people, I mean, there's non-verbal, pre-verbal. This is a very contentious topic with some people that I know. But yeah, he doesn't say words as we are speaking right now. And so some people question his ability to communicate or his intelligence levels or to understand. Absolutely. And so I think that's a myth which is being busted a lot now. I don't know if this is on the same topic, but I actually really wish, this is just personal, I wish that there was, that autism could be categorized a bit more. I don't. So, for example, I mean, I think a lot of myths come about because it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Two people with autism could be completely different, as you know. So I've seen people with autism and who have been diagnosed with autism, and when I look at them, I'm like, well, what this person has is not what Zane has.
Yeah.
You know, this person is speaking, has a job, is doing this, etc., but has autism. So I don't know that we may get onto that, but that's I think if there was a way of categorizing it, so whether there's levels, what levels, I don't know. But
when I did my degree,
Yeah.
A couple of centuries ago, at some point in Spain, they did that low level, high level. But I think sometimes, what is low level in what way? Like then they came. I didn't like it that much either, and I think they're coming out of that. What I liked is that they were more specific, so within the spectrum and in the areas that the 4 areas that the autistic people find difficult. They were kind of putting them in a score, saying like he can be really good at communicating expressive wise, no understanding, or the social side presents more difficulties in social interaction rather than communication. I mean, that's probably professionally wise, that is a profile to help us out in terms of how to put strategies in place.
Yes.
I think from the outside perspective, I think we need to break those myths, like stop putting a box and then making everybody go through that because it's
Forcing
what it was in your head.
Right.
Actually, because if you say that every single Spanish person needs to be like me, and then we will be like, well,
the world will be a better place.
What? But maybe not. That's my husband. Maybe not. But you know what I mean? Like nobody will think, or everybody that is from Ghana needs to be like you. You know, like every African person needs to be like you. Yeah. Because that will put many people in a continent based on one person.
Right.
And that is, why would we do that?
It
will be like
work.
That's it. Well, that's what we'll say. Like, what nonsense? Like,
sure.
So that's what happened in the other side. Like, I will advocate for like, can we stop making that square and make everybody going through? Because what Zane is will be different to the children that we have in the school.
Yes.
So I've got in my personal life parents that they have children with autism, and they're completely different. Like, why? But us as parents, neurotypical, we are completely different as well. Yes. So we need to break those myths. Yes. I think that's it. There is a really nice story that I used to tell when I was in Spain about there is a square that is with a group of circles. Is that to tell early years? It's an early years story.
Okay.
And it says like, it's just to make them think why we need to accommodate the square to be like us. What we need to do is make a door that everybody goes through. Do you know? So they said, because the story is just for 4 little corners.
Why?
Nothing happened, just chop it. Yes. So the square blessing is like working on, let me chop the squares to be as they are. As a circle, because they cannot go through the door because the door is a circle.
Yes.
So it's like constantly stopping at the door. And then at some point they turn around, it's like, no. You are not the problem. Your corners are not the problem. The problem is the door that needs to make everybody go through. Yeah. And that brings me to the conversation that we're having in school. Yeah. It's about,
I love that.
Let's make the environment, let's work together to have the child in here. That's how it should be. It's not let's accommodate the child. Because it needs to work in this environment. Is let's work with everybody. It's a school, it's family, it's the group in the class to put the child and be himself. Yeah. I don't need to cut my corners. I need to be myself.
I love that. Cut your corners.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think society. Yeah, that's the goal, to make it more inclusive for you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's why I advocate not labeling them or scoring them, because then it will come with something else. If you're low level, high level, they are more clever, less clever.
Well, I think then it's that there has to be a way to to use labels that don't associate, because there has to be a way of differentiating, giving people what they need to, you know.
But that's what we need to work.
So that's
if you have the label. So if you bring like, I am autistic, these ones are my difficulties. I might not be able to talk, but doesn't mean that I don't understand what you're talking to me.
Yes.
Or to what extent I understand what you are saying to me. Fantastic. If it's gonna be to lower you and put even a heavier label that has impact on your self-esteem and how you are, no, we don't agree with that. So I will go back again. You don't need to cut your squares.
Absolutely.
You are fine being a square.
As you are, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with Zane as well, in terms of the reason why people thought he didn't understand is because even when he's hearing what you're saying, he may not give you the response that you expect. As in, you know, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you right now, making eye contact, nodding. He won't do it. He'd be hearing what you're saying, but he's not even acknowledging you. So that's an assumption. That's another myth that needs to be broken. He may not be making eye contact, but he's still there. Yeah. So, which is a great thing his school has done. So his class, always when they see him, hi Zane, hello Zane, he'll still be playing, but they constantly do it. It's like, and now they have an understanding that even if he doesn't acknowledge you, he's there and he understands it.
But he acknowledged you. And then speaking to people, we have many staff in the school that they are from Africa, different countries.
Yeah.
Currently we have many people from Ghana.
Okay.
And then having conversations with them, because sometimes it's a way to understand how we work as well. We have different cultures.
Yes.
And for us, it's really important that you need to look at me, and that means that you're here with me.
Yes.
And then speaking to some people that were telling, it's really disrespectful from some of us
absolutely.
To be looking at you directly. So it's like, sometimes it's like, why we are that keen on the child looking at me in the eyes, you know? It's like in the same way that they eat with the hands. So we had conversations where we are like, is he eating with the hands because he cannot use a calorie? Or is he eating with the hands because culturally wise, in his family, within his primarily people, he's grown up eating with the hands. Then we are putting a problem that is not actually a problem.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like, why we are that... a child is not with you just because it's looking at your eyes. It's with you because it responds. It's with you because there is that connection. There are other elements that are there that are telling you, yes, I'm here with you. I'm sharing with you. Why we are that focus on, you need to look at me in the eyes. When actually it can be even an element of, culturally wise, you wouldn't go to an adult to say, you need to look at me in the eyes.
Sure.
And I've been talking to people that are like, no, actually for us it's tricky because it can be disrespectful to people that are older than you. You look them at the eyes like directly because it's quite confrontational.
It's a bit of reverence, just maybe have your head down. Some cultures.
So would you say that they're autistic?
Great point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there you go. Here we are. It's like we are accommodating things to what we think it should be when it's actually no at all. Absolutely. Does it make sense?
Absolutely. And I'll say Zane actually has become a lot better at making eye contact when he wants something. He is better, but he will do it when he wants to. It's not when society says he should.
Yeah, there you go. Like we need to teach. We need to do lots of work out there to say, look, this is not how it looks like. It's not how you think it is. It's something. And then I think the more people know, the less are the myths, the more comprehension are there. And I think the extended family is the example. The more you know, the more you understand, the easier. Okay, I get there now. And then the easier things go.
Absolutely.
Along,
Yeah.
So you talk about in your podcast that Zane has ARFID.
Yeah.
And I put a name, just to say it right, is Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder.
That's it.
So when do you realize that this was something else than just being picky or a picky eater? Because, children are normally like, I don't like this, I don't like veggies, I don't like that. So that's pretty much it's normal being a child.
Well, I mean, and for example, my eldest is a very picky eater. You know what I mean? He's, but he doesn't have ARFID. He's just, he likes what he likes. He just doesn't mix his food. Very, very particular. Zane, so we talked a bit earlier about there was a regression. Zane initially, and if you, we haven't spoken about the podcast yet. I guess maybe we'll get on that later.
We'll go there.
Zane initially used to eat. He used to eat after he was breastfeeding. We weaned him. He was eating. My Amanda used to make him rice and oxtail stew, and with meat and rice. He would eat it all. And again, around the time he was diagnosed, after that, you see he was eating less and less, to the point that he just started wanting to eat very specific things, like crisps. Like there was a certain pack of crisps, chipsticks he used to eat.
Yeah.
And he would just eat that.
Okay.
Nothing else. It doesn't matter if he's starving, he just wants chipsticks. He would rather starve than have chips. And then it's moved on to French fries crisps. And, it was like the way he would recoil if you try and give him food, we saw this was not just being picky. It was like, it was almost
something else.
It was like he was having a panic attack. If you try and put something in his mouth, he's the way he fought. It was not like he was just being picky. That's how it seemed. And, the fact that this went on for such a long time, and, we tried different things. We wanted him to have a balanced diet. He wouldn't eat, even if he was starving. You could see he was hungry, or he was, he seemed hungry, but he wouldn't eat anything. He would just cry. No matter what you try and give him, he would cry until you give him what he wanted, his safe food, which was French fries crisps, Walker's French fries crisps to this day. And they have to be ready salted. Walker's French fries crisps, ready salted. You give him that, then he'll calm down. And that has been the case. There's a few other things he'll eat on occasion, but ready salted French fries crisps has been his standard. And I think it's just exactly what you're going to get with each crisp. I think that's our assumption as to why he's so into them. There's no ambiguity with French fries crisps. We started noticing it after the diagnosis. As I said, he was eating anything we gave him really before that. And it gradually seemed to get worse.
So it was gradually, nothing happened to say from this thing that happened, never again, or it was a massive change?
Yeah, I don't think it was overnight, certainly not that we saw. You just see that, the food that we normally give him, he hasn't eaten, you notice that he hadn't eaten any of it, and then, but then he would eat snack, we give him a snack, he would eat that. And that would go on for a few days. It's like, he's eating less and less of the food we're giving him, but he finishes his snack. And then it just seemed to escalate like that. What's weird, actually, is there'd be random days where he would eat something. Like there's a random day he would just start eating, he would eat a tangerine. I'm like, oh, okay. Then how my wife operates, she'd go and buy 1 million tangerine, but then he will not touch the rest of it. He will never touch a tangerine again. I'm like, oh. So he has random days like that. The school told us one time he just went up at lunchtime, because they just have his plate with different foods and his French fries, but he would only eat the French fries. They always try and make him eat stuff. One day he just was eating broccoli. Just randomly.
Okay.
So then, I went to buy broccoli florets. I steamed them, and of course he's never touched a broccoli floret since then. But yeah, so it's weird in that way. But as a standard, he has his safe food, which is French fries, crisps, and on occasion now he will eat chicken nuggets on occasion. And it has to be a specific brand.
Okay.
Trust me, he knows the difference.
They do. I believe you.
Absolutely.
I do believe you.
Seriously, we've tried all kinds of nuggets, but it has to be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the brand, but Bird's Eye chicken dip. That he will not eat any other.
We used to have one child that smelled the custard cream biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no, thank you. I was like, there's no way that you can. Yes, there is way to feel the difference.
Oh, they know.
Smelling it. No, thank you. More like
what are you seeing that
come
I
on
don't...
mate. It's impossible.
Honestly.
It's not. It's not possible. Just telling you people, listeners, it is possible. Yeah.
It's like when people test different types of cola, Coca-Cola. No, I want Diet Coca-Cola. This is Pepsi. No.
Or zero.
Yeah, or zero. Yeah.
Like, no, thank you. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that he knows. So it's around that age that we discovered it, and it became more and more concerning because he wasn't hitting his markers, in terms of his growth.
Yeah.
He's 7 years old now. If you see him, I would say he looks about 5.
Okay.
If I saw him on the street, I'd probably say he's 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been a concern, that he's not getting the nutrition he needs. I am happy he's eating chicken nuggets now, because at least he's getting some protein, etc. And what we do now is we give him multivitamin.
Yeah.
And the only way he'll take that is through a syringe.
Okay.
I mean, he's not a fan of it, but at least it's a quick way of getting him some
yeah.
vitamins. So that was your question, right? I think I've gone a bit off.
Yeah, because it's difficult, and then sometimes we think that it's part of the sensory anxiety and the sensory needs that they have in terms of, I think there needs to be a difference between I don't like this, or sensory wise, that they perceive sometimes different or more intense, or less with less intensity.
Yes.
To a point that is nothing really, and they are compromising their well-being, is it? Like it comes to a point that is going to a doctor and say, look, we're not eating anything. How can we support this?
Yes.
We have a child in school now that has ARFID.
Yeah.
And what they did is, what the team realized is that they were leaving things at the table. Never put pressure on eating, never put pressure on you have to, you need to, that's it, you leave it there.
Yes.
And what they realized is that when nobody was looking,
yes,
he was going and explore. So when he was feeling safe enough within the team, within the house, he could go and say, let me just try. So playing that game, they've been managing to to encourage him to eat more. So he's eating
progress.
Few more food. This case is slightly different. I think something happened. He had a bad experience with food and make him sick, and then he made a link. I think, I'm not too sure,
Yes.
but we were really careful in how we were tackling this and supporting him, because adding pressure is not the solution.
No, that's not going to work. No, that's interesting that you said that. It was something that we were thinking about. Like, what was there something that triggered this? I not 100% sure. There may have been something that triggered the ARFID. I'm not 100% sure. I'm glad you used the word sensory. I think there is a sensory element to the food as well, in terms of the things he likes. And what you said also, there has been progress with him. We do the same thing. We've been told not to put any pressure. So he will, whereas before I said he'd recoil, this is when he was first diagnosed. He won't recoil now. He'll actually hold things. He'll hold a banana. He will hold a piece of fruit. He may lick it. So sometimes I'd go and pick him up from school a lot of times, and the teacher will say, do you know, he licked a banana today.
That's fine.
He put a bit of watermelon in his mouth. It's like a massive win.
It is a massive win, and I'm really happy that they are celebrating this as a massive win.
It's a great thing it's great to celebrate. And but it has come from a long time just putting things on his plate, letting him play with it, sometimes throw it, no pressure. But we want him to see it, and he sits in lunch with his classmates, and he sees them doing it, and just allow him in his time to hopefully start eating. He has occasionally taken small bites of things, so the banana is taking a small bite sometimes. So a lot of bananas have gone to waste, but it's if it means that one day he will eat fruit and have a balanced diet, it's worth it.
You never know when it's gonna click. Sometimes it's there you go, now one thing extra to add to the list. Seeing it like this, that's why not. So how the dynamics at home, because imagine as a Spanish, we are really familiar when it's about food, is really cultural. We get along all together. I guess that for you is the same, guys. Let's get together to have a dinner, lunch. How this works when it's everybody there, even in the day-to-day at home with his siblings.
It's not conventional. I mean, we've always said that it would be nice, to sit at the dining table as a family and eat. And that doesn't happen every day. So Zane is, as I said, he's very active. He was always wanting to move around. So getting him to sit down for extended periods, he has improved a lot with sitting down.
That's fine.
But mealtime, there's no official mealtime. So he will, in the morning, so like I said, he'll have chicken nuggets and he'll eat them and he'll move around, you know. So even if the other two are sitting down, he will eat and move around, which for us, as long as he's eating right now, to maintain our sanity, it's a win. It's a win if he can just eat something, even if he's moving up and down. As long as you're eating,
that's fine.
You know, there's days he'll eat 5-6 nuggets, but he's holding his plate, he's moving. He'll take my phone, he'll watch it a bit, but as he's doing that, he's eating. So yeah, that is really the dynamic with with mealtime. So yeah, so we don't always sit down as a family. I would say last Christmas was good because we all met at my in-laws' house for Christmas, and there was a period of time where Zane sat with us. So we made a long table in my in-laws' house. The family were all sitting together. Zane sat there. What helped? There was something that helped. Yeah, we put candles on the table.
Okay.
Which he's always now wanting to blow out. My wife spent a long time teaching me how to blow out a candle, and now he loves blowing out candles. So that helps him sit down. That helped us quickly get some photos. That's another thing, trying to get photos. For him to sit still for a photo is...
It's interesting.
It's interesting. That's a good word. But yeah, so... that was good. So that was a good experience. So we had an extended period where he sat with us, and he was distracted long enough. I guess it's a distraction, really. But on a day-to-day, it's more him eating and doing what he wants. Our focus is just him getting nutrients. And once we've had different advice, people saying, no, you must get him to sit down and eat. It hasn't worked for us thus far. Our focus is trying to get him to eat, and that's really it, you know.
I think at this point it's like, I think you're doing what is right. Like, if he's dancing and eating, I'm happy. I mean, as a mum, I'll be fine with, I don't care what you're doing, as long as you are trying or eating. And at some point, I think we need to think, coming from the name, it's like you have an avoidance. It's like something that pushes you, like your body is kind of refusing to go to that experience.
Yes.
What they are doing is forcing you to that experience, like you are, this like presents as a fear, if you want to say like that.
Yeah.
Forcing you, it doesn't not increment the fear that you are having towards that experience.
Exactly.
Would you not, like, if that instant food is a dog, you will never push a child towards the dog, would you? You will bring the dog progressively towards the child. You will look for situations that they are comfortable for the child to be in, playful, like relax, that's fine, till you say, okay, that's fine. When you say enough is enough.
Yes.
And then progressively you go till it's comfortable for you to come a little bit closer. I guess that this is the same. I know that there is an element of safety and health, and you need to have food intake to be alive. But it's the same balance that if I continue pushing you, I'm going to feed you that fear.
Yes.
Meanwhile, if like that, being with the family, relax, having fun with the candles, you enjoy having a conversation with your brother-in-law. He enjoys having the candles. At the same, it's at the table in a relaxed environment. Nobody's forcing, nobody's pushing, nobody's making him feel uncomfortable. So it's kind of working already, breaking that link between the food and himself.
Yeah.
That's how we will advise, our occupational therapist will advise. That's how we work a lot on.
Okay.
We will never force a child to do, you have to.
Right.
It's like the fact that they are already tolerating the food around them is a positive step forward.
It's a massive win.
The fact that he's sitting down with the others, tolerating food around him, even if it's not in his plate, is already a win. Like all of these are steps forward. Licking the food, putting them on the food. All of that is steps forward in a positive way. Yes. Eventually, that'll come. I would say that forcing, not my cup of tea, at least.
No, yeah. And to be honest, we did kind of make that mistake in the beginning. You know, no, listen, you need to eat. You know, and you know, but when the more you do that, the more it pushes them away. So, yeah.
I think sometimes, I mean, I tell you as a professional, as a mum,
Yes.
We sat down with parents that they are only parents, and they said, I know sometimes we rely on professionals to give all the answers. We don't have all the answers. And then sometimes you know your child better than we do. And then sometimes it's that instinct that says to you, this is not right.
Yes.
And I know, and this situation is really tricky because I know you need to eat, mate. Like, this is not negotiable. If you don't eat, we're not going to end up in the right route, are we? But there are ways to reach that goal that feel completely wrong or right.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And there's lots of guilty feelings in between, like, am I doing right, am I not doing right, like this kind of backwards and forwards that you probably, I mean, we do as parents anyway, no matter how, you always feel like, oh, am I doing the right thing, am I picking the right battle, should I be like saying no when it's yes and yes when it's no, and you know, like you're saying you come tired from a hard journey, being at work, like then you need to come back home, you deal with problems at work, you come back home, you're like, please no more, that's it.
Please no more.
Yeah, and then the other one, this one doesn't want the broccoli, the other one the carrots, and this one the chicken, and then you're like, right, whatever you want, guys, chicken nuggets for everybody, and that's it.
Now leave me alone.
Exactly. I think we all go through those.
Oh my gosh.
Those things, is it?
Yeah. I think parents with neurotypical children just go, let alone neurodiverse.
I think that's another thing that is in our job description as a parent.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's fine. Right, so talking about the school, I really like what you mentioned about the school is really keen on bringing him in. Is that inclusion of not cutting those four corners that we were saying. Is Zane needs to be Zane, and then he has his space here with everybody. Do you know how his little colleagues are working with him, and what work is behind the scenes? Because definitely something is being done.
So his colleagues, as in his
like
class,
the kids, the children,
the kids, what's happening with them? So he has one-to-one support. I must mention actually that obviously I shouldn't say obviously, he has an EHCP in place.
He hasn't.
He does. He does have an EHCP, and so as part of his EHCP, he has a one-to-one support throughout his time at school, which is really, really helpful. She's great, his one-to-one support, and all the other teachers as well around, very, very supportive. So they have really had conversations with the children. So there's been a lot of conversations around Zane in his class.
Oh, good.
So they understand his needs. So they know. So Zane, for example, always has his French fries crisps with him, whereas the other children are not necessarily allowed to be eating unless it's lunchtime or break time, etc. So so it's quite interesting to see he's in class. Sometimes I observe, sometimes parents come in, but the children have been made aware that this is Zane, this is what he needs. He may not always respond, but he hears what you're saying. So whenever I see the children, even if it's outside of school, if it's one of his classmates walking down the street, hi Zane, and even if he doesn't respond, so they've been briefed by the teachers, and all the teachers, you can see all the teachers have been briefed as well. So because of that, Zane, I think, feels very included. So he plays with the children a lot. So when I say plays with them, no, he will play, and he's kind of playing independently, but he allows the children to play around him, and he's just very comfortable with the children around him, and they're comfortable with him. They've been together in the same class now for 2 years, so they know him
really nice.
Very well since reception. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah. So now we are in year one. Yeah, it's definitely, you know that there is the perspective for in education is going to change.
Yes.
I guess that what they want is this. They're aiming for children like Zane to be included in a mainstream school and they have chances there as everybody else, like not having that exclusion in terms of SEN children and no SEN children, which definitely, we all agree with that. But we all agree as well that it needs to be some work behind the scenes that is quite strong. There needs to be resources that support the children.
Yes.
Because that what makes it happen
Yeah.
and possible. So I think sometimes we speak of the negative side of it or the bad stories.
Yeah.
And it's really nice, actually. They're bringing such a nice story of the school is really keen on helping,
Yeah.
on supporting, on even when parents were thinking, let's take him to another school where the needs will be met better. They were like, wait. No.
Yeah.
We are meeting the needs.
Yes.
We are going to do this in here. He needs to be with his peer group as much as possible. Let's educate the other children to accept that not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
It's what we were saying before. Back again to that story. It's like, let's tell the others, maybe what we need to change is the door so everybody can go through, not making the child be like us. And that's actually the definition of inclusion is we all have a space in here.
Exactly.
So that's, I want to remark that. So thank you, school, whatever the name is, because definitely it's a good job.
Absolutely.
There.
Well, like I said, I mean, we hear a lot of horror stories, and we have friends who, have children on the spectrum, and they tell us so many bad stories of school doesn't want them, not meeting their needs. Sometimes they just leave a child in a room, to fend for themselves. So I think we are an example. Our school, Zane's school, is an example of how it should be done, especially in the mainstream.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for everything that you're doing there.
Yeah, they've been absolutely, I can't say enough about Zane. I'll tell you something with that school. So they, Zane loves stones. So there's a particular area of the school in the morning when I used to drop off his siblings, he would just go there and just be like, he'll steal stones, he'll put them in his pocket, or he'll be studying. He could be there for hours if you left him. To the point, they've renamed that area Zane's Corner. So they've put in with the school's sort of lettering and their branding, and actually that place is now called Zane's Corner.
That's really nice.
That's how much they have incorporated him into the school. So they're definitely a great example of how to be. And we're fortunate. I'm sure you have people on here coming and telling stories of how they're struggling.
And in the day to day, like when they are saying what you say, like the other day I had a conversation with a mum when they're having some difficulties with a child. He's diagnosed, he has an EHCP, everything is reflected, and then it seems that and we had a conversation. One thing is that your child is doing something naughty or doing something wrong.
Yes.
He needs to learn the consequences. I'm not saying no, and I'm not going to defend that. Like, you do it, whether you have autism or not, you need to learn the consequences. That's part of life. But as adults, from the education side, we need to think, what is not working here? Because if I know that this child has difficulties in managing his emotions or keep in a baseline, especially at the end of the day, or in certain circumstances across the day, I cannot punish that child because he's actually having difficulties at that time, and say to that child, you just need to grow up, or you're not mature enough, or you need to do better. It's not enough on our side. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I know you cannot drink on your own, I cannot punish you because you cannot drink on your own. I will need to help you out and put strategies there in place. So we have these kind of conversations, but it's really nice when we are seeing the other side of the story. Like, actually, they embrace them. It's one more. Like, there is no differences in, and everybody knows Zane, how Zane is and what he needs.
Exactly.
And it becomes part of the day to day.
Yes.
Which is
well, I can't say enough. We're definitely blessed in that area. In that area we've been very, very fortunate.
I'm happy. So just to close and wrap around, we cannot close without speaking about Along Came Zane.
Along Came Zane.
Hello. It's been a while since I've posted. I hope you're all well. I'm just at the park with Zane, who is conquering this tree here whilst holding his French fries, as always. So I've got a question. So I dropped Zane's big sister for a play date earlier today. I took Zane with me, and when I dropped her off, Zane wanted to stay with her. So when he realized he couldn't stay, he was very unhappy. He was crying, he was shouting. That's how he was until we walked back to the car. We were walking back to the car, he was crying, he was very upset. As we were walking back to the car, there were these two older gentlemen. I'd say they're probably in their 60s, 70s. They were standing on the road talking. And as we approached, with Zane crying, they sort of approached Zane and bent down at him and said, "Keep quiet. You've got to be quiet. No, don't make that noise." Now, there are a number of ways I could have responded to this, but I just wanted to ask what you would do in this circumstance. For those of you who follow this page, you know about Zane, you know about his challenges, you know he has autism. These men don't know that. They don't know me, they don't know him, but they just felt the need to, even though I am walking with my child, they felt the need that they had to bend down and sort of, scold him almost. I felt a way about this. I might post another video just to tell you what I did, but I'm just interested to know what you would do in this circumstance, given what you know about Zane and myself and our dynamic. Thank you.
How comes that you become a podcast producer now, talking about your experiences?
Well, do you know what? It's something I thought about early on. I think I mentioned when he was first diagnosed, my wife and I, we both reacted to it differently. I think Amanda, she kind of closed off and went to researching. Everything became about that, but she wasn't ready to really speak to the world about it, etc. I was also researching, and every time I looked online, I'd say 80% of the time you'd see there's mums, advocate mums for autism, and mother warriors, autism mums, etc. Very little on representation with dads. There's quite a few more, dad podcasts now, but at the time, I didn't see many. And, it did occur to me at that time, there's not much representation. So I did think about doing something like that, but I kind of put it on hold. Then just over a year ago, Amanda mentioned to me that, because I've done different podcasts before, on different topics. And she was like, you're pretty good on camera. You should do something, because there's not a lot of things with dads. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, yeah, good. Okay, now we're aligned. So I'll maybe I'll go down.
That was a good click,
yes,
isn't it?
Yeah. So I started this podcast. Along Came Zane, and the goal of it was to really just encourage dads, because there are a lot of people with this diagnosis when it comes to autism that are in denial as well. There's a lot of denial, a lot of parents, and one thing I must credit Amanda with a lot, regardless of the effect it had on her, she was never in denial that Zane needed extra support, never. But a lot of people are, and I think if you're in denial, you're not doing what's best for your child. There has to be acknowledgement. And so I think seeing someone like myself, a dad who's going through it, and I'm in it, I'm in the middle of this, I'm going through it. There are tough days, there are good days, there are bad days, but I'm just going to speak about things I've learnt along the way. I didn't know about ARFID, I didn't know about all these things before. I've had to learn it. So I just thought I'll document it, and maybe it will help other dads to maybe acknowledge, okay, I've seen this in my child, or there's not a taboo or, around the word autism. It doesn't have to be a life sentence of, and your life can be enriched, and you can have all kinds of things. So I wanted to demonstrate that. So I wanted to demonstrate all of Zane's strengths, etc. So it was about a year ago. I didn't know how it would go. I didn't know what I would do. I just know that I wanted to be a dad that advocates for autism dads. I wanted to be a point of support. If people wanted to write into me, anything. I didn't know where it was going to go.
What do you find all the way? Do you find any unexpected comments from dads, or in the good, bad, or just unexpected way?
have I found any unexpected? Yeah, you know, it's you get mixed. What I've realized is autism. This is what when we talk about acknowledgement. It's a very sensitive topic. When parenting is a sensitive topic already, I know you know this. It's very sensitive. So you know you can bring up certain topics, and it's like you're going to get different reactions from different people. So I spoke earlier about, for example, verbal. So Zane right now doesn't speak words like I'm speaking to you right now. Now I have said in the past. Now, some people might like this, some people might not. I've said in the past that I hope one day Zane will speak. Okay, I want him to be able to. He may not. Doesn't mean I love him less or more. Anything. It's just something I would love for him to tell me how he's feeling. Yeah. One day.
My aspirations as a dad. Like,
yes. Yeah. As a dad, you know. And I still would love that. Now I've seen people online. I've expressed that, and I've seen people online say, well, no, you don't accept your child. No, this is who he is. You need to accept. If he doesn't speak, that's who he is. This is not. Now, that's a point of view. That's you know, and you can get people that can become very, very, in fact, angry about that. You know.
Oh wow.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's different things. You know, even with this ARFID. There's some people who say that he needs to not eat, even if it's for 2-3 days. He will eat once he starts. You know, it doesn't matter. So there are professionals who say that as well. So you know, there are lots of theories. So yeah, that has been interesting, seeing that, you know, you can express an opinion and you're going to get everyone's feelings on it, because it's very sensitive. You can get feelings from people who have autism. You can get opinions from parents. The parents is the most. Yeah.
It's like, because you think that is because you need to feel that what you do is right. So I need to kind of
impose it.
Yeah, because that confirms that I'm doing it right. Exactly. You do it as well.
Right. So that very well could be it. So yeah, that's been very interesting. But you know what? I've more got a lot of people who have not interacted with me through the web, through the page, but people who have privately come up to me, because there's still a lot of people have children with autism, and they kind of keeping it a secret. So I've had people who've come up to me and say, "Do you know what? I love your page. I've got a friend, I've known him for years, and he has a son who he believes has autism, has not been diagnosed. But he was like, the things you were saying, I'm seeing it in my child, you know. I made friends with someone I met on a flight, and I shared my page with. I was observing his son, who was also on the flight. And so we were talking. So I started opening up about my son, and I showed him my page. I didn't mention his son at all, but I could see from his behaviours, there's something. That's another thing when you're a parent of autism. It's almost like you've now got a sixth sense. You can spot when someone's on the spectrum a bit, it seems. But yeah, so I spotted that, but I just spoke about my own son. And then he started to open up. Okay. You know, do you know what? You know, I've started to think my son might have ADHD and stuff. But, you know, when I first started speaking to him, I could see that he was not really going to open up about his child, even though I could clearly see he was on this flight, he was having meltdowns, there was something different. Yeah. And the parents didn't seem to quite understand fully what was going on. Yeah. So it's things like that which I think and that was the goal for the podcast, was for, even if it helps one person just to acknowledge that there may be something, let me go down the path of trying to discover if there is something that my child needs additional support. Then I think the podcast has done what it's supposed to do. So that's why I started. It was about a year ago. Everything that I learned, so I've learned about what sunflower lanyards are. I've learned about ARFID, sensory, sensory needs. What, when the child has extra sensory needs. Issues with teeth brushing, all this kind of stuff. Anything that he's experienced, I've put it on the page, and I'll continue to do that. That's fine. Even different experiences. I was walking down the street with Zane, and just dropped off his sister somewhere, and he wanted to stay with his sister. But he was not allowed to. I had to take him home. And we were walking to the car, and he was shouting and screaming. It was on a residential street. And these two elderly, they were probably in their 60s, two men, just came up to us. They were standing on the street talking, and they just bent down to Zane and said, "You need to be quiet." They were like, "You don't know me." they went like that to him. And I was like, so I put that, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I spoke about that on my page, and I asked people, if you were in that position, what would you do? It was more so, I was also learning myself. I wanted to see how people would respond to that, because, you don't know my child. They have no idea about his diagnosis, anything like that. But I definitely felt a type of way, and when that happened, but I let's just say that. And there's a lot of ways I could have responded. It could have gone left very quickly. But I really in that moment had to think about what was best for Zane, and what I was doing, etc. And I didn't know these people as well. I didn't know where they were from. But so those are the kind of things I put on my page, and that gets a lot of engagement. So it's really getting people talking as well. When people talking helps. When people are talking about issues like this, then it opens them up.
And being conscious about what you say, I think we are, as adults, sometimes we don't realize how invasive we are with the children. It's like you wouldn't go to another adult that is having a meltdown, which sometimes you have a few around in what is it, like someone upset for something, and you wouldn't go like, you need to shut up. You wouldn't do that, would you? Why are you going to what gives you to think that you have the entitlement to go to a child on the road that you don't know, that is having a difficult time, and instead of coming to support and say, is there anything that you need, or you need, what happened, or would you, or to that, is there anything that you need?
Yes.
Can we help with something? Or just don't get involved, because at the end of the day, you don't know them.
You don't know them. I think with them, again, they were from an older generation.
Yeah.
I think maybe they thought maybe I'm not adequately parenting, or I need some help or something, because he was really, so there's some people, they might look at you and think in their mind, you need to control your child. But I know that I know Zane. I know sometimes you just have to ride it out at sometimes. And also I knew that once he got in the car and we're driving off, he would calm down. This is just from experience.
Yeah.
So, it's not always best to think.
But they do. I had a situation similar where my kid, he was like 3 years old, and we were like in a inflatables, and he wanted to play in an area that it was for older kids. It was like, look, you cannot go there. It's for bigger ones. They're actually bigger ones there, so they can hurt you. They are jumping, they're doing this. This is not for you. And he was like, yes. Children.
Yeah.
So I went down to his level. You cannot go. It's not negotiable. Whether you cry or don't cry, it's still a no. Someone behind me came like, if you don't do this, you go home and it's finished. And I turned around like,
hello,
I'm still here. Hello. You know, like, what gives you the entitlement to come? Are you not seeing that I'm dealing with him? Again, you don't. Yeah, you know me because we are from a little village. Everybody knows everybody. But still, what makes you think that you have the entitlement to kind of educate him and educate me? For the sake of you have all the knowledge in your head? I think when you become a parent, you deal with these things. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody knows about education. Everybody knows about how to do it better than you.
Yeah.
And I realized about that when I became a mom. I am a professional in education. I've got, you go to uni. I don't want to bring my CV here, but you know what I mean. You know what you're doing somehow. You read, you look, you research, you look for things like let me see how I do or don't do. And I can remember once people telling me from my family, you don't do, you did, and put here, put there. These things that they have an opinion about. Everything you do, everything. If you do because you do, if you don't because you don't, you never do what they want you to do. Basically, that's my conclusion at the end of the day. So at some point I was like, no matter what I do, it's not going to be what you want anyway.
Yeah, it's never good
so
enough.
Let me just carry on my way. And then my sister got really cross because wait there. So she came with my CV. She studied this. She was this, and she has experienced this. And then you are the one with zero experience telling her what she needs to do with her son.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, it's true. So it's the first time that I actually clicked on. Like,
Yes.
I didn't even see myself as a professional at that time. But like, why everybody has the entitlement to come and tell me what I need to do with my kid?
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of understanding why are you doing what you're doing.
Right.
Or like, maybe because we are in here. So if I see a mom like that, and then you normally see, as you said, things that are going different, or you see certain, you feel the vibe, do you? And then you're like, is there anything that we can do to help you out? Tell me, how can I help?
Right.
I've got the tablet. Do you want the tablet? You know, like I was in a plane once and the baby was crying and crying and crying. And then I said to my husband, can you ask them, do they want the tablet to keep him distracted? Like,
Yes.
my son was sleeping. It's like, is there any way that we can help you with this? Because sometimes you get nervous, anxious, the child feeds from that. So it's like, why we are not coming to say, is there anything that I can do to help you with? Like,
Right.
instead of, yeah, not do it.
Yeah.
Why we are not changing these things? Like,
Exactly.
I don't understand why.
Was it again what you said about
Why is that difficult?
why is that? Yeah, it's what we said about the circle and the circle. So these people may have children themselves. Well, I did this with my children, and so therefore, you know what? You're clearly not handling this properly. I'm going to show you how to handle this. So, but yeah,
I don't.
it's a society thing, and I think society is slowly getting better. I mean, like I said, I've seen it with my own in-laws. They had no understanding of, you know, what autism was, etc. And, you know, you can't say that now. They definitely they're a lot better. So I think, you know, with time, with podcasts like this, hopefully that helps.
That's the aim, is it?
Yeah, that's the goal.
So where people can find you, NK?
So it's Along Came Zane. Zane is Zane. Along Came Zane, one word. That's on Instagram and on TikTok.
Okay, so when we put the description of the episode, we will include all this information so people can find you quickly.
Find us, find me, follow me, and
yes, please.
all that.
I do.
Oh, brilliant.
So just to wrap up and finalize, what message would you send to our listeners that they are on the other side, or to your listeners now?
There's always hope. There's always hope. Even times may be difficult, but there's always hope. The goal is understanding on both sides. The goal is understanding of your child, if you have a child on the spectrum. And when you make that effort to understand them, rather than try and fit them into what you think or society thinks, you will see changes in your child. If that's what's needed, you'll see changes. So there's always hope, and understanding the needs of your child is paramount. That's what I would say.
Perfect. So thank you so much for today. I think we can carry on talking, but we will do for a second episode
Yeah.
down the line. Yeah?
Definitely.
But thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having me.